Why do we need a soup maker? I asked. It'll just be something else to clutter up the kitchen. A few minutes later, having been not so politely informed of my rights, we're walking out of the Lakeland shop with the Saute Soup Maker. Keep watching to see what I think of it. Today we're going to have a go at making some lovely homemade tomato soup, and we'll look at the functions on the soup maker as we go. Everybody will have their own recipe for tomato soup, but today I'm going to be using 3 large Gourmandia tomatoes grown by my own fair hands in the greenhouse, a couple of carrots and 1 onion. I'll add a few other bits and pieces in as we go. I'll get these chopped up and then we can start to use the soup maker. So here we go, everything's ready now. We've got the carrots, onions and the tomatoes. Haven't chopped the tomatoes too finely because we're going to use the smooth soup function, which is hard to say. So it'll be interesting to see whether it comes out very smooth or still with a texture to it. So the first thing we're going to do is saute the carrots and tomatoes. So on the side handle there's a slider that you move up to turn on the heating element in the base of the soup maker. So what we've found in the past that there's a lot of steam made when it's cooking. So we've got it on the hob on a wooden chopping board underneath the extractor so we can get some of that steam out. So first thing is you can either use oil, or I tend to use Tesco's Finest oil spread. So let's get a decent chunk of that in there. One thing to be aware of is to use only non-stick utensils inside the soup maker. Okay, I haven't put the heat on just yet. So we'll get some of the carrots in. Hopefully without spilling them all over the hob. Yep. Get the onions in. There we go. Right, the saute function you shouldn't use for more than 10 minutes. And what we found is it gets very hot very quickly. So we'll switch it on and then give it a couple of minutes to start to sizzle. And almost straight away, you start to get quite a lot of heat. So really is necessary, I find, to keep stirring, otherwise either the oil or the food will catch. Of course it does help if you put the extractor on. I've also found that switching the saute function off a little bit is probably a good idea, because it still carries on cooking. Not only does that save a little bit of power, but it gives you a little bit more working time. Now obviously this is no different than doing it in a pan, but I think one of the conclusions that we will come to is that there's a little bit less mess. But we'll keep stirring that. I've put the saute function back on. Obviously how much you saute the carrots and the onions is down to personal taste, but the idea is to get them soft, get them a little bit browned, and then we can put in the rest of the ingredients. As you can see, there's a lot of steam coming off. It gets very hot, I suppose it's to be expected. Again, I'll switch it off a little bit, and keep going. It's dying down again, so give it another blast. My wife's read some of the reviews on the Lakeland website, and a number of people have complained that the element has burnt out. Now, is that because people have not been following the instructions and have been using the saute function for more than 10 minutes? I don't know, but something to bear in mind. Not so far off done now. For another 2 minutes, I think. Okay, I think that will do. Okay, we'll put our tomatoes in. Now I'm going to add some vegetable stock. So this is basically an OXO vegetable cube together with some additional garlic seasoning. Now, maximum capacity is 1.6 litres, so we need to be careful not to overfill it. There are some, just turn it round, maybe you can see, there are some engravings on the side here, so a minimum of 1.3 litres, maximum 1.6. So it's really geared towards making soup for 2 people, maximum. Well, I'll just pour that in. So I made up about, I guess, 900 ml, just a little bit too much in this case. So now we fit the top with the blade. It's very sharp. So we seat it down and make sure it's home, because that's where the power comes through at the top. I'll just turn it round so you can see the symbols. So we can see the 5 settings: smooth, chunky, drinks, blend and clean. So press the mode button and it illuminates the first one in the series, which is smooth. But if we wanted chunky, we would just go along one, likewise for the other settings. But we'll come all the way back to smooth. Right, we're ready to go. We hit start and off we go. It's indicating it's going to be a 30-minute runtime. And already we can hear it start to heat up. So those flashing lines now indicate that it's heating up. So when it shows all 3 lines, that means it's resting. So we're about 15 minutes to go and we've just had the first blend cycle. Okay, it's finished, so we'll switch it off. Let's see what we've made. We'll take the lid out. A lot of steam, quite a lot of moisture on the underside. I'll just put that down for one moment. Let's have a look. Well, looks pretty good. Let's get it poured out. Here we go. I guess you'd call that tomato and carrot soup, but it looks pretty good. Certainly looks very smooth, very nicely blended. Nice and hot by the look of it. Proof of the pudding is in the eating. Very nice. You can certainly taste the carrot. Perhaps 1 carrot would have done. Delicious. So now that we've poured out our lovely soup, how do we clean it? Well, the first thing is to rinse it out with some hot water. To be honest, there's a little bit left in there. I should have scraped it out, but hey ho. We get the worst out. Then we fill it up to the max mark with some hot water. Put it back in. Put our lid back on. Switch it on. And now we want to select the clean function, which is the one over on the right hand side. And press start. Starts to heat up. So having switched it off, we should now be able to take the lid out. Still some soup there, but one presumes we can just rinse this off. And the inside looks pretty clean. It's got rid of most of it. The user guide says to wipe round the inside with a soapy sponge or cloth to get rid of the remainder. I haven't tried the chunky setting for soups as yet, maybe next time. There's also a drinks function, maybe I should try that soon. The blend button is really there if you just want to give your soup that little bit extra blend, just to get it nice and smooth. And obviously the clean function, we've seen that in operation. So there you go, a quick review of the Lakeland Saute Soup Maker. Does it make your soup taste any better? No, probably not. But if you're looking for a low fuss, quick and easy soup maker, ideal for 2 people, maximum capacity 1.6 litres, and it certainly seems to fit the job. I better get out of the kitchen now because the missus wants it back.
So what do I really think? Well, before I start, I'll be honest and say I was pretty sceptical, hence my original question at the beginning. If I'm making soup, which I do reasonably often, I tend to use a saucepan to saute the veg before bunging everything in and adding the stock. With a reasonably large saucepan, say around 3.5 litres, I can make a couple of batches and freeze whatever we don't plan to use immediately. And there's still only one thing that needs washing up, apart from your soup spoon and bowl, of course. However, it is very easy to use and does blend very well. That tomato soup was super smooth. In fact, I think it's shown that we might need to replace our aging handheld blender. Although I haven't used it yet, I'm not convinced that the chunky setting is up to much. It's basically just acting like a saucepan. The clean function works, sort of, but how long does it take to wash out a saucepan? At a price of $84.99, I just don't think it offers value for money. By a combination of vouchers and discounts, we ended up paying a much more reasonable $59.99. But for me, I don't see a great deal of benefit in having this soup maker. You, of course, may have a different view. What do you think? Am I being too harsh? Comments below, please. If you're really keen to try one of these, you might want to consider a manufacturer refurbished item. A quick search online throws up quite a few around the £35 mark. Will we still use it? Of course, especially if we just want to do enough soup for 2. But I'll not be throwing my saucepan out anytime soon. Thanks for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you liked it or found it useful, or maybe even both, please give it a thumbs up as this helps me reach a wider audience. Also, consider subscribing if you're not already. It doesn't cost anything and ensures you won't miss out on any future videos I publish. Hope to see you on the next one. Cheers.
Also the drunks function, maybe you should try that.